Good evening, everybody. Good day, everybody. This is another episode of Tracy Takes On, the show that talks about all things politics. We're going to talk about some weekly events. And before I get to my panelists, I want to say this is the first Monday of Black History Month. Happy Black History Month to everybody because, again, I'll say it again, Black history is everyone's history. So learn about somebody in Black history you don't necessarily know about, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. We have Talisha up in the corner, and we got Charles that's joining us today, and we're going to kick it right off. So this show, as you all know, tapes on Mondays. So that means tomorrow is the second impeachment trial of you-know-who, whose name I don't want to call because my stomach will literally turn ill. Thoughts? Anything?
I'm okay with them impeaching him. There has to be some type of accountability. I think we've all kind of discussed ad nauseum the fact that we don't think there will be any real accountability for him. But it's good. It's good that the Democrats are basically making sure that he is held responsible for what he did. 5, now 6, because I think a second officer took his own life. People have died as a result of Donald Trump's ignorance and shenanigans, and he needs to be held responsible. If nothing else, to be held as the only person in history to be impeached twice, because he'll never get convicted.
Charles, what do you say?
You know, I really believe that the House has an airtight case, but it really doesn't matter if your jury is bought. You know,
exactly.
They're not going to convict him. I told you, I feel it's just a waste of time. He needs to be tried in criminal and civil court and quit wasting government time. This money could be going to COVID relief or doing something better than sitting up there wasting time when all you pretty much gonna get out of it is the line is drawn and you'll see who's on one side and who's on the other side. Anybody who doesn't think that that Trump is guilty, to me, is validating the attack on the Capitol. You know, they really don't care. So that's my feeling.
Yeah, I know, you know, another thing that amazes me, and I definitely agree with you guys, he's not going to get convicted. He's going to get away with something yet again. It's like, and I don't want to be Debbie the Downer, but it's like people like him get away with everything. And it's just gets on my nerves, to be honest. I'm just like, why can't people who break the law get punished the way that they should? This whole thing just makes me so ill to my stomach. I'm surprised that the 11 Republicans in the House voted for impeachment. I was shocked. I thought they was going to do what they did the first time and just go unanimous, but they didn't. And of course, those 11 are now subject to death threats, which, way to go, America. And then you have senators who, Mitch McConnell, our man Mitch, criticizing Trump, but then kind of walking it back after he got some calls. And I just wonder, when is somebody going to throw the Republican Party a spine? Because they just don't have one. They just, whatever Trump says, it's either they're scared that he's going to start a third party and they don't want to lose those. Well, no, I think that's what it is. I think the only reason he's going to get off is because they're scared he's going to start that third party and split the vote. And they rather
primary in them.
Yeah, or primary. Exactly. So I kind of figured that's what you guys were going to lay your opinions at. And of course, I agree with them. Another thing I did want to talk about at length is Fox News. Fox News finally canceled Lou Dobbs' show. Mm-hmm. I was so happy when I heard this. I was like, okay, is Tucker Carlson going to be next? Is Sean Hannity gonna be next? Probably not. But this one made me the happiest because he is. I'm gonna just step back and let you guys talk about him before I just give my thoughts.
Well, I was, I like I say, the whole thing is funny to me because it's like a drama, and like you said, you get mad or upset because Trump isn't going to jail, and that's how a drama series happens. That each day, each week when you watch it, the villain gets away with something, and you watch it next week, hoping he gets his, but he slips out of it again. You know, I can't imagine why Lou Dobbs said what he said about Smartmatic. With He must have didn't know where Smartmatic had been used, and he's just parroting what other people said because you know they were talking that Smartmatic was the software used in all the battleground states, and come to find out, it was just used in California. So, so I hope they have to pay big money, and I hope, I'm surprised that Judge Jeannie, and the other lady that they haven't been kicked off of Fox.
Because they were named in the lawsuit. They were actually named in the lawsuit. So I was like, oh, okay, they're going to cancel him, but not the other two. Oh, sorry, Talisha, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're totally fine. I think that the other two, Laura Ingraham and Janine Pirro, I think they have a higher audience draw, especially since Trump raves about them so much, and Laura definitely feeds that racist machine. So it's harder to cut those two off as it is to cut a Lou Dobbs off. I think Lou Dobbs is going to be that, we always talk about symbolism here. So he's that symbolic, we're turning a corner for Fox. We're cutting out the bad, even though they still got a lot of bad left, right? And so I think what it really is just, it's a show. And really, they probably couldn't stand Lou Dobbs anyway. He's old and set in his ways. And he was basically Trump's number one cheerleader. Well, Trump's gone now. So they don't really have to capitulate to everything Trump wants. And money's not really talking for Lou Dobbs like it's talking for the other people like Hannity and Carlson. So that being said, they just basically did it to kind of, maybe put their advertisers at ease. Like, look, we're doing something. But they don't mean it. It's whatever sells, and they'll put anybody up there to lie, to slander, to do whatever, just so they can get that ratings draw. As long as their recourse or accountability for their actions isn't outweighing the profits.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder a couple of things, and some of them aren't going to make sense, but I'll say it anyway. Why doesn't somebody fire Fox News? They sit here and they tolerate things that are lies. I'm like, are you serious? You're going to fire Lou Dobbs, who I'm glad they fired. Mm-hmm. But you're still in existence programming these lies. Like, you're still allowing them to go on. You're still having hosts who are white supremacists. You're still doing all the things that you're doing. I don't know how anybody watches that network, because I literally sit and think, okay, but what they're saying isn't true. But this isn't true. This isn't true. And it's just out there. I mean, they just put it out there, kind of the same way Trump does, and there's no recourse to it. And they just keep doing it. And sure, they'll fire Lou Dobbs, but I bet in like 6 months, either he'll be back or he'll start his own network. Like he'll go to what's the other one?
Peacock? Not Peacock. Oh, no. OAN.
OAN, that's the one. Or the Epoch Times or the Epoch Times. I forget what that show is called. That network is called. He'll go to some crazy fringe thing, or he'll do the whole what's that kooky guy's name? He said that not Glenn Beck. No, not Glenn Beck, the other one.
Alex Jones.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about. He'll get a show like him just on his own. It's either one or the other. Either he'll be back at Fox in 6 months when this all rides down, or he'll go out and start his own thing.
I don't think he'll be back at Fox. He might be at one of these other right-wing extreme right-wing networks. It won't be Fox. Fox ain't, supposedly he was on his way out anyway. And I think this lawsuit just canceled his show quicker than uh, it was projected to be. I don't know what his ratings were, if he had great ratings or not.
Yeah, I thought he was one of the highest rated shows on their network. Now that's what I saw.
No,
I
Anybody?
think so.
I really don't think so. I mean, you see more exposure with Hannity
And
than you see,
Carlson.
and Carlson, yeah, Tucker Carlson, than you see with Lou Dobbs. So I mean, but he's gone, so I think he's gonna stay gone from Fox. I'm sure they don't want pay out any more money than they need to be paying out, and they're gonna pay for this. This is God. They just made an airtight case
Absolutely.
for Smartmatic. It just
What did they sue for?
perpetuated that line.
2.7 billion?
Yeah, and they'll probably settle because I
Of course
think
they're going
it'll
to settle.
more than 2.7 billion if they go into court and resolve it in court, because then you can have punitive damages
Mhm.
also to the settlement. So they're going to, and we'll probably never know what it is, because I'm sure it's going to be a non-disclosure, but just the fact that they settled. So
Just like they settled with Seth Rich's family after cooking up all that crap about being murdered by the DNC. Fox is nasty.
Yeah, I forgot. I forgot all about that. See how that happens when you just forget?
Mm.
And it takes somebody to bring your memory back and like, oh, I remember all that big yahoo. So there's really, like I said, the trial is going on. When we talked about, and I guess we'll bring this up every week until somebody decides to pass a COVID relief bill. What is holding up the COVID relief? We got in the Senate the 1.9, to my understanding, the 1.9 trillion dollars, which I still don't think is enough, finally passed.
Right.
But I think the fight is, and I don't know again why the Democrats, they are the best party at snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, because I'm like, it's right there. All you got to do is A, B, C, and D. But now apparently Democrats are fighting for an income guideline, and they want to reduce the income. I believe it was from 75,000 to 50,000.
Yes.
What are they thinking? Just somebody explain this to me, because I don't know what they're thinking.
Well, somebody told Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema to say an ignorant mess like, well, we want to make sure rich people aren't getting a check, was a good enough excuse. You weren't peddling that when you were begging us to go and vote for Ossoff and Warnock. You were saying, vote for them and you will get a $2,000 check immediately. So you've already cut the price, and now you want to means test it, even though last year when they passed that first CARES package, corporations got millions upon millions of dollars, and you're worried that somebody's going to get an extra $1,400 in their bank because they might have an extra couple of zeros next to their annual income, even though they tax the living daylights out of your money. It's ridiculous. It's ignorant. And Joe Manchin is clearly on the wrong side of history with this. And I hope he pays dearly in 2024.
Well, you know what? It's not just Joe Manchin, and it's not just Sinema either. There's some
Mark Warner.
Yeah, there's some
couple
other
of them.
senators. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought you had some sense. I thought you had some sense. What happened?
They never had to show their true colors because they always had to battle the Republicans. Well, now you got the ball. You caught the car, dog. So now you need to do something with it. You can't sit there and keep talking about well, it's this and well, it's that. No. The truth is coming out, and you people are getting primaried. I'm making that my life's mission. You got to go.
Yep. Charles, what about you? What do you think?
Well, I told it don't matter what they give out, it's not going to be enough,
Right.
And in a month or two, it's going to be more money needed, because this thing isn't getting any better. It's still getting worse. I don't know when the economy is going to be straight, because until the whole world gets on the same page, nothing's going to get better. It's just going to progressively keep getting worse, and the government is going to need to bail out people. But it's so what, they give you $1,400, but what is what are they doing to make things better that they won't need to give you another $1,400 pretty quick after that, while more people are filing unemployment and people, becoming homeless, and all kind of things are happening to people now, and that this thing isn't getting any better because we're still not on the same page. So I know they're counting on this vaccine, but now you got variants of vaccine. I'm sorry, variants of the COVID, and the vaccines aren't all working on these. I don't even know if it's working on the regular COVID, much less the variants. Now they're gonna have to probably come up with another booster shot on top of the vaccines to hope they can stop this. But it's not just a United States problem now. This is a problem for the whole world. And like I said, the world is not on the same page. I think other countries have better guidelines for dealing with it than the United States does, because everybody's fighting against doing things. Nobody wants to work together, Uh, people don't want to wear masks. Look, down at the Super Bowl, look at all them people that was down there without their masks on. Let's watch and see in the next few weeks if their numbers will go up. Yeah.
Yep. So, and I ditto on everything you said, Talisha, because I don't. First of all, Biden ran on this whole promise. We all heard him say, if you elect Warnock and Ossoff, there will be. He didn't say there might be. He didn't say if you subtract 600, you'll get 1,400. He said there will be $2,000 checks.
Exactly.
That's what he got elected on. And for some reason, which I think we all know why, he has backtracked off of that. Now it seems to be open to this income whole guideline that it's completely stupid because they're going off a 2019 income and not even 2020.
Exactly.
It's just like, if I could have audience with our president, and even though I didn't pick him, I still feel more comfortable calling him president than the other person. Barely. I would just ask, why is it that you want to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory? All you had to do was propose a package that would pay Americans for the next couple of months. Right. We're not saying, just pay people to stay at home. Yes, we do need to pay people to stay at home. There's too many, if you're not going to the grocery store or, I don't know, a hospital, what business is it that you have out anyway? I can understand Joe Manchin because basically he's a Republican. To me, he's not even Democrat.
Right.
But I did like that his own governor of West Virginia came out and said, no, let's forget about a deficit. Let's just put this pedal to the metal and let's get this going. I'm like, okay.
And
so
he's a Republican.
And he's
that makes sense.
Yeah, and that made sense. I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. Unless he said it because he wants to run for Joe's seat in 2024 is when he's up again?
Yes, he is. But I don't know, this guy is old. I don't think he's going to run, but who knows? Dianne Feinstein's running.
Who's the Republican?
The governor of West Virginia.
I can't remember his name.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought Manchin was from Virginia.
No, Manchin is from West Virginia.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, he's from West Virginia. And first of all, I don't even know why the Democrats don't just kick him out. It's like, boy, you are not a Democrat. You are not a Democrat.
Well, they can't afford to kick him out right now because we are literally holding on to a slim majority.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that wouldn't make any sense. I
No,
mean,
we
I
gotta.
know, I'm just saying these are my
I don't
frustrations.
even think
Right.
they can.
Party.
I don't even think they can do that. You know, I mean, well,
I
shoot,
mean, he could get
I
so
guess he could force
disenfranchised he
it.
switches parties because
Yeah,
remember
he
that
could
guy in the
force
Congress
it.
did it.
Yeah, and there was a senator that did it, like a senator, and I can't think of their name. They switched parties.
It was a Congress guy, and he was up in New York. I can't remember his name
They
either.
switched parties? I thought it was
Yeah,
a senator and a congressperson that did it.
I only
Yeah,
know of
but the
a Congress.
party didn't
Oh, you're
kick
talking about
him
back in the
out.
day, Kennedy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm talking about way back in the day.
John Kennedy, the guy from Louisiana.
Yeah, he was Democrat for
Mm.
some reason, and he switched over to Republican.
Well,
Well, yeah,
the
I
governor
understand
in
that,
West
but
Virginia.
I don't believe that the party will kick you out of the
Oh,
party.
they can't. They
No, they
can't.
can't. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying they should if they
Yeah,
could,
if they
because
could.
some people, I'm like, y'all just the name only.
But the one good thing, I was watching on Rising today, and I can't remember their name. I'm gonna have to send you the link, and you can link it in the description. There's this group that's going around, and they are running ads in the districts of Cinema and Mansion. And anybody that's talking this means test bull crap, and anybody that's talking no $15 minimum wage, and anybody that's talking, like not even sending these checks, they're running ads, and they're basically telling the voters, look, these people are not for you. They're voting against this. They don't want to help you. That's why when Joe Manchin was initially saying he wasn't going to be for the $2,000 checks, and then he had that abrupt change and was like, well, yeah, we could probably get those checks out because, people need it. That's because they were putting pressure on him. And so I love it. I need to find out who this group is so I can make sure they're paid up and they can keep running this on any of these fake Democrats that's been able to hide behind Republican obstruction. And really, they were really rooting for the obstruction.
Yeah, and and we discussed this last week where I said the Democrats, they never wanted us they didn't want relief. They don't want it.
Ever.
Because if you wanted it, first of all, $1.9 trillion, it sounds like a lot because I have like what, $25 maybe lying around somewhere.
Right.
It sounds like a lot of money, but when you think of government spending, it's nothing. We spend money on the military, and I have yet to hear a Republican ever say, when we voted for the Iraq war, how are we going to pay for this?
Never once.
Nobody ever asked that question, but yet when we talk about giving Americans the relief that we need, not something of our own. We didn't do this to ourselves. This virus came in and just basically ran roughshod.
Yeah.
And now we have a bunch of inactive, idiotic people that are making very, 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 very poor decisions. So I hope you give me that group, but I wish they would run some of these Republican places because I don't know who's worse. I don't know if the Democrats are worse, and I don't know if the Republicans. It's a tie. They're both the worst because they're both the same.
Absolutely.
They're definitely both the same. But you brought up the next thing I want to talk about is the taking away the proposal for the $15 minimum wage. This is another thing I don't understand why it seems like our president is wanting to major in incompetency. It's like that seems to be his major and stupidity is his minor because this is just like, what? Are you serious? There was literally no reason, in my opinion, for him to take away that $15 minimum wage proposal. Maybe somebody else knows a reason and can explain it to me, but I couldn't see it.
And they were phasing it in. That's the ridiculous part. It wasn't even going to be immediate. It was possibly going to be finalized by 2024. So it was just ridiculousness on top of ridiculousness, and it's only $15 an hour. We all know that with the rate of inflation, it should be upwards of $22 to $25 an hour. So really, the 15 is woefully insufficient. So for them to come out of their faces to say, "Oh, now's not the time," you are doing it through budget reconciliation. You don't even need Republicans' help. So you don't want to do this, say it. If you don't want to do it, stop playing in our faces. You need to just say what you are there for, and that's just to report to your corporate masters and stop pretending like you're for the people. It's the gaslighting for me.
Yep. Charles, what do you say?
Hey, I don't know what they do. Okay. A few days ago, I thought the whole bill was passed when
Nope.
it passed the Senate. And then I'm saying, well, why are they discussing the minimum wage? Why are they discussing all this other stuff? I thought the bill go back to the House and then go to the president for signature. Damn, I got that wrong. So,
You got that wrong because
I don't know
Biden.
what these white people are doing up there.
Exactly, because that's exactly what happened. Because I thought, okay, it's got to pass. Look, they got the Senate, they got the House. Here we go. We're gonna get $15. Not that I make $15. I make a little bit more, but still, for the waitress that makes what? A waitress makes like what, $1.25 an hour, maybe $2.25. That's plus tips if people even leave them. You have people at McDonald's making what, $7, $8 an hour. $15 would have been so hopeful. And I think one of the arguments against the minimum wage that I'm so tired of hearing, well, things are going to go up if they raise the minimum wage. They're going up anyway. Costs are already increasing, and the minimum wage has been $7.25 since 2009. I literally can't understand the argument against. If you're saying that, oh, things will go up if you increase the minimum wage, they're going up anyway. I mean, the average rent, I don't know where, I know DC, it's super duper expensive. It's probably expensive in Arizona, but in Indiana, the average rent for an apartment is maybe $850 a month. Maybe $850 a month. And that's if you get a 2-bedroom and you have to pay a minimum of your electric. So imagine paying $800 for your apartment and then utilities, and then you still got to go to work. And then you probably have to pick up another job because the first job isn't enough. I literally am just, I'm not surprised, but like I said, I think President Biden is trying to get a master's in incompetency. And he's just like right on track to do it. I literally can't understand this at all.
Well, some people are lulled to sleep, right? Folks have felt, oh, everything's fine. Trump's gone. We can go back to brunch again. They're just happy with the fact that we don't have a lunatic tweeting every day, right? But your average person who's being slammed by this pandemic, they wake up every morning and figure, how am I going to feed my family? They're very much still feeling all the pains of the Trump admin, and now we just got the nice words to go along with it. So folks are definitely not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe this time around. Folks are a little more engaged. Folks do see that you guys are saying one thing, not you guys, y'all are family, that
Yeah,
the
no.
Democrats are saying one thing and doing another. And so this will not fly. And they will be paying harshly in 2024 and 2022. Mark my words, unless they get off of their butts and start doing some of these things that they said they were going to do, they are going to pay harshly, and they will deserve it.
Charles, what do you say?
Hey, I say I'm sure they're gonna start building more jails. People ain't gonna have enough money to do what they need to do, but they'll figure out a way to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a sad thing. And like they were asking the press secretary, I can't think of her name. I cannot.
Jen Psaki.
The one with the red hair?
Yep, Jen Psaki.
Okay, thank you. Because I was like, Sometimes I feel bad for those press secretaries, but in her case, I'm like, no, girl, you know good and well, we all heard that inauguration speech. We all saw him campaign before he was threatening to fight people in the audience. We all know that he said, I'm going to campaign for I'm going to write legislation for a $15 hour minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
There was literally no reason to take it out. I'm just like, America, why do you keep getting things wrong? This should have been Bernie doing all this stuff, and I guarantee we wouldn't have had all of this confusion. Like, we don't even know. It's just like so many, like you said, so many people are just happy Trump's gone. Well, I'm happy Trump's gone, but I'm still ticked off that you're talking about, oh, well, it's going to be a $1,400 check because you already got 600. No, you should have said that. I'm going to campaign for a minimum wage, but watch, I'm going to take it out and nobody's pressuring me.
Right.
I'm just like, huh? What? I just can't. I just cannot understand why we as voters keep putting up with the two-party system. I'm just like, I can't. I'm like, stop it. We've got to be like, you know what? Maybe we need to elect somebody in a third party to get you out or to get them like so popular you get scared. Maybe that's what we need.
Well, I don't believe that even any party system that a politician will keep all his promises. You know, they'll promise you anything to get your vote. It's not like Biden is the only person that promised something that didn't deliver on his promise. You know, all of them do that. So, you know,
But
why should you be surprised?
here's the one thing I'll say against that argument, and I essentially understand what you're saying, but nobody told Biden had that in his proposal. Nobody told him, hey, you need to take that out. There was no reason for him to take that out. We know he has the House, so he's going to get the votes. He has the Senate because Kamala Harris is going to be the tiebreaker. Literally, there's no reason why he couldn't keep that promise. Exactly. I could see if he said, okay, well, the Republicans have the Senate. Right. That would make sense to me because he could then say, oh, well, the Republicans kept me from doing it. He can't say that now because now he has the power. And that's where I'm not understanding their whole need to do this bipartisan, we are the world thing that they don't need to do. Bipartisanship is okay in theory, but when the Republicans had power, I never heard them say bipartisanship.
Ever. And when Jason Johnson is the voice of reason, now you know there's snowballs forming in HE double hockey sticks. He literally was on Morning Joe the other morning and he said, forget the bipartisanship. They didn't care about bipartisanship when they were in control. So why do we care about it now? No one cares about that kumbaya mess. People want money in their pockets and they want to be able to take care of their families and they want to not die from a pandemic. It's so simple. Do that and you'll have the greatest popularity you've ever experienced in a lifetime. Be right up there with FDR, which apparently he was very popular to the white folk because he didn't do anything for black folk. But you would have that same popularity that folks will just want to keep putting you in office because you're taking care of the people.
Yeah, that's going to have to be a discussion for later because you know FDR is one of my heroes. I'm like, yeah, Social Security.
Yeah, a hero in name only because he was the king of the redlining and black people didn't get to take advantage of the GI Bill and they acted like we didn't exist. So that Social Security he proposed, we fell in that net, but we were definitely not the object.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. But that's a discussion.
I told you, nothing's a problem in America until it affects white people.
Absolutely.
Black people, nobody cares.
No.
I don't care how bad the problem is. Nobody cares.
At all.
Yeah, I think I was reading a tweet from someone I shared on my page where it was from Jamal Bowman. And he said something I've been saying for years. He was like, Ronald Reagan was one of the worst presidents ever.
Ever.
He literally campaigned against black people. His policies, the whole trickle down economics. Okay, that's so stupid in theory. I'm like, really? really, I was like, what, 6 or 7? No, Reagan was elected in 80, so I was 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 6 and 80. And even as a 6-year-old, I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right. That don't quite sound right. I didn't know enough to know what I know now, but I'm like, some of us just need to wake up. We just need all of these things that are happening around us, and we literally have millions of Americans that are going to go hungry, and food banks are not going to be able to keep up. They
Exactly.
can't keep up because there's too many people wanting service. I mean, they're just grocery stores are going up on their prices. Um, you know, unless you're at that 75, 85, $95,000 per year in 2020, 2021, not 2019, you're struggling. I mean,
Exactly.
I work from home and I'm like, okay, I got a job, thank you. Because there's so many. I had a relative, my sister, she was out of work because she's a teacher. Well, they couldn't open up schools, so they had to do remote learning. And now parents are starting to have to teach children. There's so many stresses about this that this virus has brought to attention. And although I appreciate the need to get vaccines in people's arms, I don't know if it's going to be enough. I don't really think it's going to be enough. I think we need to not only do a payment of $2,000 in full, but we need to make those payments every week. Every single week, Americans should be getting $2,000 checks. Send us a little debit card and just let us go because we'll spend the money.
True.
We're not going to go into stock markets and just say buy a TDL company and just make it go up. No, we're going to spend it. Period.
I mean, that's
Spend
true.
it,
That's very
spend it
true.
doing, wait a minute, spend it doing what? You
Oh,
know,
you know, people are going to
you
spend that money. They're going to, hopefully, they will spend it responsibly and pay their bills.
yeah, right. You don't need to spend it on things you want. You need to spend it on just things you need. Okay. This
Survival.
isn't just giving you free money. Like you say, if you're gonna spend it on things you want, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would probably be putting money into the stock market because they didn't really need that money if they can do that. If you can go out here and buy clothes and go to restaurants and do things that you really don't need to do, then you don't need that money.
Well, I don't know, because sometimes you do need that. Like a job like I work nights, my husband works days. And so there's a lot of times where we can't cook for the kids. So we have to be able to go and grab takeout because we're just missing each other. And then with clothes, I still got to go to work. My husband still has to go to work. If we need something new, a new coat, new pair of pants, new shoes, the kids grow through shoes like it's going out of style.
Yeah,
So
we're not
those are
talking about
necessities.
I think
I'm
Trump
not talking about
that's like for
something that goes out yearly. I'm saying things that you need. Okay.
That's a constant
It's
basis.
a
I don't
lot
know
of
when
stuff
the
that
last time you
you
raised a kid, Charles, but my daughter goes to a pair of shoes like every 3 to 4 months.
you're talking about, Charles, you're talking about people frivolously spending money. I'm talking about people getting those checks and paying their bills that they're 9 and 10 months behind.
Exactly.
I mean, you're always going to have the nitwit that goes out and buys a TV. Okay, good well, you got 5 TVs in the house, you don't need one. You're going to have that one person. But I think the majority of people, they're going to buy food, they're going to buy clothing, which reasonable clothing, you can get reasonable clothing. They're going to pay their bills, and then we could get this whole thing moving. That $2,000 a week is not going to just sit there. People are not going to save money and go out and be like, you know what I want? I want a Coach bag. I mean, I want a Coach bag. I want a Coach bag, everybody. Anybody listening? I want a Coach bag.
well, you know what? You're saying like, okay, $2,000 a week.
Oh, we
Now, okay, so that's about what,
$8,000
$8,000 a
a
month?
month. Yes.
That's about 80, that's about $96,000 a year.
Yep.
You
And I'm
know?
not talking about doing it for a whole year because I realize that's almost $100,000 per household. And I'm saying per household.
Well, if you don't change anything, if if you aren't staying home and not getting this COVID under wraps, then I guess you'll have to continue that.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is the government needs to do two things. One is they need to shut down all of these bars, these restaurants that we don't need to be going to unless you're doing takeout. They should just shut them down, period. Unless you're going to the gas station, the hospital, or the grocery store, what you doing outside? Then at the same time, they need to be giving Americans, I say $2,000 every week, but okay, let's be a little reasonable because they're probably not going to do $8,000 a month. So let's just strike it down to about half it, make it 4,000 a month. I'll cut what I said in half, $4,000 a month per household. So you can have, me, spouse, children. I don't have a spouse, I don't have children, but I'll just use that as an example. Give that money to them so they can, one, like I said, pay all of those months behind on mortgage and rent. There are so many families that are behind, and you have not the small landlord, but you have corporate land building owners
Exactly.
filing lawsuits to kick people out, which is causing court cases to go up for no reason.
Right.
That could be alleviated. You have people, because they don't have to, the utility companies were holding billing back, but now they started again. And in my state, at least, our governor was like, oh, you can go get help. We'll just let them start billing again. And we're like, no, that can't work. Thank goodness they're now trying to override that. But you have those kind of things that are going on. So I'm talking about meeting basic needs: food, shelter, clothing. I'm not talking about going out and buying a TV, buying a car, any of those crazy things. I'm talking about meeting the basic needs. Oh, and also telling grocery stores they have to freeze their prices because some of them have just gone
Absolutely.
up, and I'm not going to name them because, well, they'll never be a sponsor. Walmart. I mean, they've gone up on just their basics. I'm like, okay, so how is bleach $2 and something? It used to be 99 cents. Okay, that's
Wow.
$1.32, and that's not even a gallon.
Mm.
That's just
Well, I'm
one.
not sure if they're gonna be able to do that because that's when I said weeks ago that you should have had a plan in place before this even started, because not only should the prices in store be frozen, wages should be frozen, rent should be frozen, everything should have been frozen. But now, how you can't even make people put on a mask. So how you gonna mess with their money and tell them what they need to do with their money when you can't even get them to
No,
wear a mask?
I'm not saying tell them what they need to do with their money, because I would say, and this is me, I'm saying common sense is if the government gives out $4,000 a month for 6 months, the next 6 months, no, for the rest of the year, from March until December, I would hope, and maybe I'm just being too hopeful, that the common average American is going to go back and say, okay, I'm going to pay all my back rent from X, Y, Z months. That's my hope. Of course, I do know that there's going to be those one or two people that are going to say, oh, okay, I'm going to Disneyland. I can't stop that.
Or folks might just feel like, okay, they've already jacked up my credit. Why not just start fresh at another place and have some rent paid in advance? How's it going to help me that I have to go and pay X amount of dollars for back rent and I still got to pay rent coming up and I still don't have a job?
Right.
So they need to cancel out all that rent. And for the smaller companies, like we already said, the government needs to make them whole. The corporations need to eat it because they got their money on the front end of this pandemic. But folks, and even still, maybe I'm just a little too far left, because I'm still okay. If you need a TV, go get a TV, because that's what's going to stimulate the economy and get us back moving again, is that we are patronizing places that sell us basic things. And as far as I'm concerned, a TV is a necessity. Now, granted, if you got 5, do you need a 6? Maybe not.
You're not stimulating the economy.
If you go and buy,
you're infusing it with that monies that's not real, okay? Because that isn't.
Well, none of it's real, Charles.
Yeah, none of it's real.
The government is buying that TV. You're not buying that TV. The government's buying that TV.
But you're forgetting, wait a minute, hold on. But you're forgetting those dollars that you're talking about originally came from our pockets.
Exactly.
They just redistributed money that already belongs to us.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not their money either. They got it. They didn't just get it from just out there and print monopoly money. They got it from people's paychecks. They got it from when people go to the grocery store. They got it from someone passes some
property taxes,
inheritance taxes, sales taxes. It's not.
So you don't think that money been spent already? That money's been, the money has been accumulated. These people are is about greed, okay? And their primary goal is to not give any assistance, because they want to keep that money. Okay. And I don't know how you're gonna force them to redistribute that money. You're saying what they should do. They know what they should do. Exactly. They know people out here suffering. It's not nothing new. It's they don't care that we're suffering.
No, they don't. But I'm saying what they should do in theory. I mean, in theory, I still think it should be $8,000 a month. But I said, okay, realizing Congress, they don't even want to give 600. So they're not going to want to give away 8,000.
Well, you got people in 2019 that didn't even make any money.
Sure did.
Didn't even file any taxes. What you gonna do about them? You gonna give them money too?
That's exactly what my problem is.
First, you got to find them. You haven't even found everybody that you gave the $1,200 to. People that lost their bank accounts and could be homeless, and you just sent out a check to someplace that they don't even bank at anymore.
I know my sons didn't get the stimulus either time this last year. And I thought it was because they lived with me and they were just going off of the 2018, 2019. But when they went to file their taxes, it actually asked them, did they get the stimulus? And when they said no, it credited them the 2 stimulus payments. So I think there is a catch-all. It eventually catches you. But now, since they want to super duper means test it, I honestly feel a lot of folks are going to get the fuzzy end of the lollipop this time.
Yep, I do too. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know why the Democrats are so open to this means test. It literally makes no sense to me to take not 2020 income, which is last year. They're going back to 2019. Let's just say I was, I don't know, pharmaceutical salesperson. No, they made too much money.
A realtor.
Yes, I was a realtor. Housing market, booming. I'm down here selling houses. Now there is a downturn. I'm not working because, one, who has money to buy a house now? Not anybody I know. I'm not working. I'm not making what I was in 2019, but you're going to use that instead of using, what I would say, use 2020, because that would make more sense to me. So now you're not going to get a stimulus. And a means test, I wish, here's another thing I know is not going to happen. I wish Congress didn't get paid. Because I feel like you're already millionaires. You're already taking money from corporations. What do you need my tax money for?
They should absolutely not get another check until folks are starting to get a monthly stimulus.
They shouldn't get a check. They shouldn't get a raise.
No health care.
No health care, nothing. Just take it all away from them and do like we have to do, pay for them.
It amazes me that they can literally say out their face that healthcare is socialism, Medicare for all is socialism, when they are literally getting the biggest socialism on the planet, and it's called the Cadillac of healthcare plans, and we pay for their healthcare. It makes me sick to my stomach that there's folks that are literally, they can't go to the doctor. They may have cancer. They're scared to pay that bill to even find out what this ache pain is. People are dying undiagnosed with COVID because they can't afford the doctor. Yet these greedy so-and-sos will literally sit their behinds in Congress and tell us that it's socialism and we're not giving handouts.
Or if it gets to my desk, I'll veto it, even if Congress passes it, even if the Senate passes it, and you're going to tell me to go with the Affordable Care Act because it's so fair. Don't start none, because it won't be none. I will be on that, because I cannot stand the Affordable Care Act. It is literal garbage to me, because I don't understand how you can look at the healthcare system and look at people who, in this pandemic especially, I have a coworker, and I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this, but I'm not going to say her name. She has cancer, but she's working a temporary job. So guess what? She does not get health care
benefits. Wow.
She doesn't get benefits. She has to take off weeks on end because she's got to go through chemotherapy. So now she's going to lose. She's going to lose income because she's not working and doing chemo. She's now at higher risk of COVID because now she has cancer. She can't get health care. She can't get paid leave because she's a temporary worker. We've got a lot of problems. A lot of problems in this COVID that unfortunately they've been kind of like riding in. And now that COVID's here, it's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about the people who don't have health care and they get some major disease that's going to cost literally not millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars to treat, and they have no insurance.
Exactly.
I mean, yes, you can get Medicaid, and I'm not knocking Medicaid because I used to be on Medicaid. Still the best insurance I ever had, period. I mean, it just is. It just was. But the Medicaid threshold is so high now. It's like, well, who qualified for it? You have to be have children, almost be homeless to qualify for Medicaid. And that, I'm just like, when I hear politicians talk about socialism, I just want to yell, shut up, because you literally, know what it means. You know that your health care is based off of socialism, your income, and yet you're, okay, I see you. So that's me. Didn't mean to go off, but that's my throttle is Medicare for all. I'm just so for it. I just literally am like, wait a minute, your argument doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah, Charles, you've been kind of quiet over there, so sorry to chunked up all your time.
That's okay. I'm listening. I have nothing to add to what you just said.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous. I'm like, wait a minute, so you're not going to work for 6 weeks. How are you going to live? You have to basically go start a GoFundMe campaign.
So sad.
Really? GoFundMe should not be your health care.
Exactly.
GoFundMe should not be your health care. And when I hear people like President Biden say, oh, I'll veto it. Why? Because you're getting paid from corporate donors.
And then he can go sit his butt right in Walter Reed and get the creme de la creme of treatment and treat it like a king.
Yes, he'll go just like Trump. Trump had COVID. Went into Walter Reed Hospital. He got out 3 days later.
Exactly.
Don't let none of us get it. We be in there 2-3 weeks, and we better all hope that we get to go home.
If they keep you, they might just send you home to self-treat because you can't afford to pay.
Exactly. Or they don't have enough room to admit you, so they hope that you is not as serious.
Trump said he had COVID. Nobody knows if he had COVID or not.
I'm just assuming he had it, but yeah, I've heard that theory too. Some people think he didn't have it.
He just wasting government taxpayer money.
I don't know. That day he came back from the hospital, he walked up them steps, buddy, and he was over on that balcony. That brother looked like he was having a hard time breathing. So I think he did have it.
He's just he looked like he was. I'm like, oh no, he ain't lying about this. Look at that face.
It looked real. It looked real. But because they believe in socialism for themselves, he was back up to snuff in a couple of weeks, back to spouting his ignorance and bullcrap. So
yeah,
it's time for us to revolt.
I guess he didn't learn nothing from it.
Not a thing.
no, because how can you? You have to have a brain to learn. Oh, shut up. Stop there. I'm gonna stop there because I can go on and on about that one. But it just makes me so angry when somebody like Joe Manchin or I want to call her, I can never call her name from Maine. What's her name? Susan
Collins.
Or any of them suggest, oh, well, and my favorite, Mitch McConnell, suggests that giving people checks is going to lead to laziness.
People, Lindsey Graham said it too.
I don't want to talk about Lindsey Graham.
I guess they should know they haven't got anything done and they getting a check. So I guess they understand that premise.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't do anything and you're getting checks. I mean, really? Oh, so I guess you would know what it looks like to get paid and not do work because that's what you're doing.
Right.
But
they stay on recess, but they refuse to have town halls. What are you doing?
Exactly. I think that's happening in our state because we're going to have a special guest who I'm going to talk about here in a bit. But we got problems. If Indiana's a micro system or micro study of what's going on in the nation, I'm like, oh, boy, we in some trouble. We need to seriously, we don't need to do what them people January 6th did. That was ignorant. Boy, we need to take to the streets with masks. Don't come outside without a mask. Because this is just ridiculous when I hear, oh, they'll just sit at home and not work. What job are they going to exactly that's open? Some companies or some small businesses are going out of business. They're going literally out of business. And small business, the last time I checked, they employ most of the American workforce. There's very few people that are employed by the Walmarts and the Dollar Trees and the Family Dollars and all of those corporations put together. So it's just like, you get away with saying that? If one of my senators ever was stupid enough to say that, and I heard it, oh, I'm calling. I'm like, excuse you, no, this is the way it really is. I'm sitting and I'm writing a letter or I'm doing something. And I wish the purpose of this show is to get people to do something, anything, write a letter, get a group together. All you write letters, do something. So again, didn't mean to go on my rant, audience, but I'm just on it today. So before we name our idiot of the week, I want to talk about February 22nd, audience. So I am going to be interviewing a candidate for United States Senate, and she's running in the state of Indiana. I'll still have my panel, but she will be interviewed first. And if I'm judging by the conversation, it's going to be a great conversation with her, and I'm looking forward to it. So if anybody has any questions, especially in Indiana, that you all want me to ask, please put them in the comment section. And now we can go to my favorite segment of the show, our idiot of the week. Talisha, I'll let you go first.
Okay, my idiot of the week is Gorilla Glue Girl. I want to be compassionate for this girl, and for those who don't know, which you must be living under a rock because it's dominated the news cycle and social media, she ran out of whatever her normal hold gel was, so she just assumed she could spray some Gorilla Glue in her hair, and then her hair stayed like that for over a month. It's just now trickling out to social media and TMZ and everywhere this week, so she gets the privilege of being my idiot of the week. I don't know what will possess her. She can't even blame it on being young. She's 40. She can't even blame it on being inexperienced. She's a mom. So whatever possessed this female to spray Gorilla Glue in her hair, and now this heifer is talking about suing Gorilla Glue, she's the idiot of the week.
Yeah. Charles, you next.
Lou Dobbs. He's my idiot. He's been my idiot for for years. You know, I listened to him when he was on CNN, and I thought, you know, he was wacko then, but it was like he just got more wacko when he went to Fox, and now he done foxed himself out of a job.
Wow. Okay. My idiot of the week is President Joe Biden. I'm still sitting here scratching my head like, why did you take the $15 minimum wage out of the agreement? You don't need bipartisanship to pass that. You have the numbers. Start using what you have. Use what you possess to get what we need. My idiot of the week, easy peasy, Joe Biden.
Lemon squeezy.
Yes.
Oh, can I give some quick stats real quick? I just saw support for Biden's policies. Citizenship for Dreamers, 83%. This is America worldwide, or American-wide, right? Not just blue or red. 1,400 stimulus payments, 78%. 1.9 trillion stimulus relief bill, 68%. Raise the minimum wage, 61%. There's overwhelming support.
He's got the support, don't exercise it. Stop majoring in incompetency and get a degree in common sense because you apparently need it. That's my idiot of the week. And so, audience, I'm gonna stop ranting because you all don't want to see me do that. But this week, I knew it was gonna be kind of treacherous. So I'll say Happy Black History Month, the whole month of February. And I also want you all to like, share, and subscribe and comment. Support me on Patreon. And in about 85 days, look for the relaunch of my website, which looks so great. I cannot wait for you all to see what I've been working on. And have a great day, guys. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too.
You
Thanks.
too.
Bye-bye.